But the way that people behave, obviously it impacts and inflicts on me, and the unconsciousness of people, of course. But for myself, right, so what's my point? Is that for myself, I really feel that I'm going to die alone. That's it. I'm going to die alone. That's my forecast, and I got to accept it. I'm going to be lonely till the day I die. And I actually don't see myself living, till 80 or 90 years old or something like that. Whether that's even necessary, I don't know. Whether I even want to, is like, shit, I don't even know that. Like, why would I want to do that? What kind of world is it going to be? Like, you're just trying to survive here. I'm just trying to learn what I have to learn and teach what I have to teach, or share what I have to share to a degree. And then, hey man, I want nothing to do with this. When I'm done here, I am done. I've so outgrown this place a long time ago. I am so over it, let me tell you. I'm learning, and I'm grateful for that, don't get me wrong. And some people would look at me and, well, I don't care. Like I'm saying, I'm giving myself the space to say, look, I don't really understand it, but this is how I feel. So I'll just tell you the story when I went. I mentioned in my previous video. I don't know if I edited it out or not. I don't think I did. But I was so close to meeting a woman at the airport, and it was, if I had one more minute, I would have gotten her phone number. I guarantee you, hands down, I would have gotten her phone number like that. Well, it's not even a question in my mind. And I'm telling you now, we'll be in contact today. And I'm telling you now, I would have made every single plan in order to spend time with her. And I'm telling you now, we would probably be living together. I know it's a jump, but I'm telling you now, I know when I feel, I know. I'm telling you. And so what happened? So that I've forgotten about. Okay, so let's move on. So on Sunday, today's Friday night, of course I'm on my own. I don't see anybody. I used to pick up my son, and I used to spend about 4 hours with him most like 4 or 5 days out of the week. But now I don't, because his mother has decided, right, that I don't walk in the light of the Lord, of Jesus, and I don't worship enough, and whatever it is, and I'm a bad influence on my son. Legit, 100%. And this is a matter of life or death, she tells me. This is the woman that I rescued from being a sensual massage therapist, that I've taken care of for the last 5 years, with her 2 older children, who's almost made me, driven me broke. She's manipulative in what she says. She's deceptive. She's got everything. And let me tell you, if my friend from America, if you're listening, right, I just think about, hey, how I used to talk to this friend of mine, this lady friend, that I also thought could have been an option. Also, I've known her for years, into the same things, a love of Terence McKenna and everything else. Wow. If you're listening, you really are. And I would confide in her, the heartbreak that I was going through, and she'd be like, how do you laugh at her and mock her existence? She's a suffering, 1 minute she's this, like a suffering woman that's got mouth to feed, and I'm just talking about my own, whatever it is. But people, you got to be careful, eh? You just got to be careful. You got to be careful. Seriously. Anyways, I don't know whether she's listening. If she is listening, then great, good for you. That's one of the reasons that I actually put my comment section off, because I just don't want to hear what she has to say, and the gaslighting, or the what do you call it, the passive aggressiveness. Maybe one day I'll go through one of her emails. I'll never mention her name, so she never has to worry or anything like that, but just go through sentence and just watch this and be like, oh gee whiz, I'm sorry you had to go through that. But of course, even her listening now, oh no, she's the victim. No, she's the victim. And how dare I talk about her on YouTube, although nobody knows who she is. No one's got a clue who she is. So it doesn't matter. I mean, she could be 1 out of 7 billion. Okay, how many percentage is men? Say 50%, whatever, it doesn't matter. But she's the victim. She's always the victim. And the victim is the greatest form of manipulation on others, you know. So again, that was also like, I thought we were going to meet up, and I mean, I'm grateful that we didn't, you know, and that it worked out that we didn't. So things do work in my favor. Don't get me wrong, they do work in my favor, yeah. In that way, but ultimately, so Sunday, now it's Friday night, I'm on my own. So Sunday, I'm at the flea market by myself. I used to go with my son, but his mother, you know, like I said, listen to his mother, right? Listen to his mother. I've been spineless. There's no question about it. But it's been a very difficult situation for me because, you know, I felt like I've had to be there for my son, because if I'm not there, you know, she is the devouring mother. She's going to, you know, she will manipulate him. He won't know. She will be like, you know, you don't take a step without my approval. Right? You don't love anybody else ever. You only love your mother. And if you dare sort of give anyone else attention, I mean, she was very jealous of my relationship with him. Completely jealous. Even though it was the best thing for him in his life. Because otherwise they're stuck in a small townhouse. Here I've got a pool. I've got a jungle gym made for him. I've got a massive garden. I've got toys. I take him to the beach. When he's in the townhouse, he sits there day in, day out. His mother doesn't take him anywhere. They don't go anywhere. His mother just wants him and her two older children, and the one's basically schizophrenic. You know, the son is schizophrenic, and she calls the cops on him a number of times throughout the year. You know, it's ridiculous. It's madness. It's madness. You know. So I felt sorry for my son. Like, how could he be exposed to such? I'm his only outlet. I grew up with, like, you know, my father wasn't around. My mother really wasn't around, you know. And you can't say that, oh, his mother's around. His mother's around just to manipulate him. You know, just manipulate. Like, it doesn't matter, you know. So she only allowed me to meet him when he was 7 months old. How about that now? And she honestly believed that she would have a separate life with me and a separate life with him. Although he's got no birth certificate because she can't get her act together. You know, imagine that. He's 3.5, but he's got no birth certificate. I mean, it's bewildering. It's you know, whatever it is. I mean, a woman who's so highly dysfunctional in every single way, and I'm the one who's managing her life, like, you know, on a material level of, you know, getting whatever needs to be done. And she has no problem kicking me out of her life. Because I said to her, you're going to take him, you're going to stop me from seeing him, I'm going to stop supporting you. I'm going to stop supporting you. So I said, you're deciding his future right now. You're deciding his future right now because of your needs. His needs don't matter, only your needs matter. I didn't kind of say that because obviously if you get to whatever it is, she just blocks you. She just blocks me on WhatsApp. And then I'll be like, oh shit, okay, so now how long am I going to be blocked for? So you can't speak, you have no voice. With a narcissist, you have no voice. With the unconscious, you don't have any voice because, again, they work by emotion. And if you're saying anything that's even slightly critical to them, slightly, or whatever it is, you know, like, oh, you know, I got the electricity because I pay for the water bill. Sure, it was what are you trying to say? You know, now she feels attacked. Now she feels judged by me. I'm just saying, hey, listen, maybe your daughter can take, be a bit quicker in the shower because, like, I know she likes to take a long shower. You want to control my life now, type of thing. So it's like, you pick your battles. You realize, you know what, okay, shit, I mean, I have to pick my battles here. You got to be wise because it's just miserable. There's no ending to how much drama she can cause and how much it can, like, spiral, like this other woman in America, how much it can spiral and go out of control, and then it's like your head is spinning and you're just nauseous, and it just becomes violent and it becomes abusive, and the words you're called sick and twisted and all the projection, all the stuff that she hasn't processed herself, all the unlived life, her unnamed rage, all of these things that she hasn't owned in herself, they got to project. Somebody else it's got to land, and it's got to, and they got to make sure that it lands because they don't want to back at them, So it's like they'll take out everything that they have to Because what they're trying to do is basically, it's like you're sort of in a cage fight. And what they're trying to do is knock you unconscious. Because if you're unconscious, then you can't fight back. Like you can't say to them, look, this is, whatever it is. It's like, no, you take this. You take all of it. You take my whole feeling of unfulfilled life, unlived life, unfulfilled life, meaningless life, selfish life. All of these negative feelings that I have cultivated towards myself and everything else, my unhealed shame, whatever it is here, boom, smack you in the face with it like a punch, then an uppercut, and then punch to the groin, and then I go down, 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 down. And they walk away still feeling like the victim. Like I spoke about in that picture with that woman who's got a little cut on her finger, but her husband, it says her husband's got like knives in his back, and she's saying, you'll never understand my pain. That kind of thing. Because you only exist to acknowledge their pain, not the pain that they've caused you. Anyways, so that's kind of what I'm dealing with. But now, she said to me, no, she's decided that I'm unfit because I'm not spiritual. I mean, even though I have, done all these things in her life and everything else spinelessly, and she says, no, she's not allowing me to pick him up. This is the same lady who stays in my townhouse. She lives in my townhouse, which I haven't put a foot in for over 3 years. Because I'm not allowed to. I haven't seen her 2 other children for 2 years. I don't have their phone numbers. I've got no contact with them. Because she has to control everything. So you might say, oh, Aaron, that's so pathetic. Like, how could you stand for this? Well, fair enough if you're asking from more of like a loving and concerning point of view. But you know authority. Believe me. You have no right. And just maybe this is something you need to work on in yourself. You have no right to pass a judgment that is not out of love and concern. To say, oh well, you're a PUS as well. Like, come on, what's wrong with you, type of thing. Like, what kind of man are you? You should stand up for yourself, like that kind of thing. Well, I would. That's fine for you. That's great. That's great. That's why I talk to my mother, because she listens without judgment. And that's why she talks to me about her situations, because everybody else would judge and say, you got to divorce him, or you got to do this, you got to go to the lawyers, you got to do this, and all of this advice. People with all of their advice. Listen, people, just shut up and listen to the person and actually feel what they are saying to you. If they're asking you for advice, then give advice. If they're not, then shut the hell up. Because you don't know. It's just your impression. It's just what you think. It's just what you would do in the situation, which, mind you, you might not even do yourself because you're not in the same shoes. It's great to stand on the sideline and give advice and be like, I can tell you what to do, and you feel virtuous and strong about yourself. Or I've studied in psychology, or I've done a degree on the side or whatever it is. It's like, I know, and I can tell you what's to do. And that's the thing, is that it's wrong. It's wrong. My aunt is in a very, very narcissistic marriage, and she's finished. I mean, she's on heavy medication. She's sedated a lot of the time. She's married to an absolute monster of a man. A monster of a man. And, the other family members think, she deserves it. She never got out in time, or she never put her foot down. Say, you know what? You go live with a narcissist. You get married to a narcissist when you're the age of 20 years old, and see how well you do. Okay, so shut the hell up. Alright, you should have empathy for her rather than anything else. And maybe she didn't put her foot down, but maybe she had nobody else around her who gave her the support at the time. Maybe she was all alone with a narcissist. Do you even know what a narcissist or unconscious person of that level does? Do you know how they oh my word. Do you know on the spiritual level? They are such highly advanced, they proper freaking Terminators, man. Terminator 2000 or whatever it is. They are Terminators. They are the highest of predators. They are absolutely the highest of predators. There's no question about it. I'm saying in the human form, on a spiritual, psychological level, energetic level, the highest. They're so covert that you don't see it. And you know what? Nobody in our culture tells you about this. You don't learn this in geography or science at school. Nobody tells you about this. And even the versions that you learn about it at university are like, so, and barely even, barely even taught about narcissism. So yeah, so my aunt, my poor aunt, she's lost her sense of self a long time ago. Not because she wanted to, she didn't even realize it was happening. It was being eroded. It's like going to somebody who committed a crime here when he was 18 years old and 19 years old, and now he's in prison for the rest of his life. He's been sitting here for 20 years, and he's like, I can't believe I have to pay for this crime that I did. I mean, I wasn't even conscious. I was a teenager. I was angry. I was high. I didn't know what. And somebody comes and says, well, you know what? You committed that crime, so this is you do the crime. You got to do the time. That kind of thing. And I've seen it. I saw it in that movie, which is based on a true story with Jack Black. I can't remember what it's called now. Yeah, and it's just people are soulless, hey. But look at the prison, the way how prisons work and whatever it is. They're just money making schemes. They're just there for profit, basically. They're businesses. It's like $1 billion business, whatever it is. So. Something else. Anyway, I'm all over the show, but still. So, yeah, for people to give me advice. Anyway, so the other day, it was on Monday, I think she said to me, and I could see it coming. She said, no, she's put her foot down. Before she said, well, you can only see him twice a week. And then I just, whatever it was, and I made a plan to see him more. And then it was on Monday, she says, no, I'm done. No more, no more. Listen to this. So she sends me a message telling me all of these things, and then right underneath it she says, oh, by the way, we don't have any electricity and I don't have any diapers for him. I need money. Even though I gave her monthly money, you see, I can give her monthly money on the first of the month, and believe me, it's enough money to last till the end of the month. But what she does is, I'm sure she gives it to tithings. I'm sure she gives it to her church, because she's a beloved. She's a chosen. She's a highly favored. She's a prophetess. Don't mess with her. She has dreams and she has visions and she can heal people and she can do all of these things. It's because the super ego is there. Well, the alter ego. She's a superhero. Yeah. To mask and cover up all of the shame and the insecurity and the unlived life and everything else. Yeah, so that's what you're dealing with there. Let me check this. This is recording. Yeah. Alright, so being all over the show with this one. So she asks me at the same time. And I said to her, you're like nailing in the last nail in the coffin here. Like what you've put me through. And now, because she's put me through horrible, horrible, horrible things. But man, really, we could take months to talk about what absolute hell. Literally hell. I can't imagine hell being anything less than what she's put me through. Yeah. And as I stand today, I can tell you this, that I do not have one nice thing to say about Leanne. Not one compliment. Not one. She didn't care when I was all alone on my birthday, when it was Christmas, when it was New Year's, whatever it is, it didn't matter. She knows my circumstance, but not once did she care. Did she think, oh shit, let me take, the boy, let's go to Erin and let's, how many times I've known her for 5 years, how many meals I've sat down and had with her, like to cook the meal with her? Not one. Not one meal. Do you know how many times she's cooked for me? 5, maybe 6 times. That's it. She said, well, why did you hang around, Erin? Well, firstly, I didn't until she fell pregnant, right? And then I told her, it's not a good idea, but she went ahead with it. My life was over. My life was really over. Anyway, so I've hung around for him. Because like I'm saying, it'd be hard to just abandon him. But now I'm left with no choice because she refuses to. When people say, oh, go to the courts, go to the family courts. Go and get the family court involved. First, she doesn't have a birth certificate, so she can't prove. She also denies that I'm the father, which is the most insidious, crazy thing. Like really, legitimately. But I know 100% he's my son. I know 100%, you know, and I have my reasons. No DNA test has been done, but there's things that are so specific to my features, and especially when I was a child, and I've asked plenty of people in comparison to children, you know, when I was a baby and compared other not only that, he's got the same smile as, I know it, it's not even a question, it's not, you just can feel it, I know it. She came up with some theory that it's some random guy. She was so depressed at the time. She said she went partying with one of her friends. I said, when? You didn't even have any friends. She made up a story. Oh, it was the craziest of things. It was last year, like July. She came and she sat down. She said, I bumped into this guy, you know, on the street, and he called me. And he says to me, and she knew it. I mean, she knew how she would get this to. She says to me, he walked up to her and he says, oh, you don't remember me? She's like, no. She says, oh, you gave me the best sex ever. I mean, can you imagine hearing that while we were supposedly together? This is before she fell pregnant and everything else. And like, hold on a minute. Like, whoa. So not only that, she was happier to believe that her son was conceived in a gay nightclub while in the bathroom, I'm serious, while she was passed out drunk and blacked out because she can't remember it. And the next day she came and told me this story. She says, you know, if you want to go your own way, you go your own way. And the first thing I said to me after she told me the story, I said to her, are you saying this because you don't want me to spend time with him? That's the first thing. I didn't even take in this. I mean, obviously I was shocked, and afterwards, like, the shockwaves came. She felt nothing, but people, nothing. She felt nothing of what that information would do to me. Do we understand the pathology? Do we understand it? Do we know the evil that we are working with, that lurks around us, that runs the world? Are we aware of it? Or should we all just be like one? You know, or should we all just whatever and focus on one particular guy, you know, like Mr. Epstein or something like that? Yeah, let's focus on that, or let's focus on this, or let's focus on that. All these evils in the world. Let's watch these crime channels on YouTube and whatever it is. And oh, this woman was this and that. Say, no, you know what? It's most likely you, darling. Whatever you see and relate, most likely is sitting in you. And then you got to go into the comment section and give your, you know, your pathetic little comment, and you know, like you just squeeze it out of your poop hole. You know, I mean, it's ridiculous. Opinionated. You know, opinionated. Oh, you're so much better than these people. You're just so much better. You're so much more virtuous than these people. That's it. We're walking around as, you know, and then calling ourselves virtuous or something or other. Soldiers are fighting wars and they're feeling that it's virtuous. I mean, it's great because they're fighting for the cause. Anyways, this was something else. So it's remarkable. But Leanne never felt at the time how I would feel, like by telling me that. Imagine somebody comes up to you. I mean, you know, you have this child and you only met him when he's 7 months old, which I was okay with because I didn't really want to be a father. I don't want to be a father. That's the truth. I didn't want to be in this life, especially not with her. I didn't want to be, you know. And I didn't want to. So I was okay with it. But then eventually I thought, you know what, like, this is ridiculous. I mean, I'm supporting the child. I'd like to at least meet him. You know, she would tell me all these stories. Oh, he's so cute, and he's got his first tooth, and he got this, or whatever. So, like, you know, I'd like to check the guy. You know what I mean? No. And then she never let me pick him up on his own, on my own. No, he's too young. He was 1 year old. I'd be like, what are you talking about? She made every excuse for me not to spend time with him from the very beginning. Or I can tell you a story. When I picked him up and I wanted to, you know, because Leanne, when she only allowed me to spend time with him when I picked her up with him, and I wanted to go to the beach. I can't even tell the story because it's so traumatizing of what she did. She cared nothing of what she would do to me. I'll just basically tell you. So I said, look, you know, I picked her up. I said, it's great. It's a beautiful afternoon. Let's go to the beach. You know, take him to the beach. I don't think he had been to the beach before. She said, no, I'm not interested. He's already showered and this is not acceptable, and you need to whatever it was. And I said, listen, just let's go for it. Anyway, she said, stop this car in the middle of oncoming traffic, in the middle of traffic. Stop this car, I'm getting out. In South Africa, it's not a safe place for you to be walking, in the late afternoon, and especially holding a child and walking back for like 20-minute walk. You know what I mean? It's just not ideal. No, stop this car, or I will open this door and jump out. Huh? Yeah. So should I leave this boy to for his mother to completely devour him? Let the evil just completely corrupt, and just devour? Should I do that, guys? No. Should I go to the family court? You know what'll happen if you go to the family court with her? With Leanne. She would pack her bags, her children's bags, and she would disappear. She would bugger off to unknown place, and she would change her cell phone number, and she would be gone, because nobody, as Leanne even once said, not even God tells her what to do. Nobody tells her what to do. That's it, because she knows it all. She's such a big deal. She's such a pro. She's, the best at everything in that way. Although she knows that it's all a lie at the same time. Anyway, so she told me that, it's done for, and I can't see him. So I said, look, then I'm not paying you another cent. I'm not supporting you another cent, and that's that. So then she called me a bloody Jew, and because I am Jewish, but I don't practice whatever it is, although she's fascinated by Jews because, of the Old Testament, and Jesus was a Jew. So it's like, hold on, 1 minute, like, what's going on here? So hold on, you expect to me, you're telling me that I can't see my son, and I haven't already seen him for like a week and a half, so I can't see him, and I'm missing him, and you know that I'm missing him, but I can't see him because I'm this terrible, ugly person, this dark person that carries these, I'm not with the Lord, so I'm not purified, I haven't been baptized and everything like that, and although I rescued you from hell and taken care of your children and, supported you in every single way and put your child through school that you dropped out and put, like everything that you needed. She got a car, she doesn't know how to drive, she got her license, she doesn't, anyway, got everything you wanted, and I'm a bad person. So you can devalue me and discard me so you can feel better about yourself, right? And then get your way. So they devalue and discard you, so you're not a human being anymore. And once you're not a human being anymore, you can do whatever you want to a person. And that's the whole thing with a narcissist. They go and they devalue. You're not even a human being. Not even if they care that you're a human being. They still don't care because you don't exist. You only exist to serve their needs. That's all. That's the only reason you exist. That's what the controllers of this world see. They don't see us as human beings. They just see us as cattle. There's no question about it. So let me just put it this way. When your goose is cooked, your goose is cooked. When you Andy Dufresne in that way, well, to a degree, I mean, he escaped Shawshank Redemption. But I'm saying, when it's got you, it's got you. There's nothing you can do. You need to understand that I'm saying for myself, there's certain situations in life where you have no control. There's nothing you can do. You're subjected to this kind of punishment, this unfair treatment, this abuse, whatever it is, and there's nothing you can really do about it. You can learn about it and educate yourself, but there's not much you can do about it. It's like kind of saying to people, let's say it's a small like mom and pop store, and they took a loan from what they thought was a reputable, whatever, nice family, it's like, it turns out it was the mafia. Now the mafia owns them. And it's like, well, why don't you just go and tell them? Like, no, you must stop bothering me, you must stop, harassing me, you must stop like, what are you going to do? You don't stand a chance. The people in Gaza, did they stand a chance? What are you going to do? You're going to fight back? Stand up? What are you going to do? No. That's what I'm saying. In this world, you will go down. You can't fight. You can't. You can't fight the system. There won't be like, somebody who rises up, or like a, whatever it is, a sort of group of people like in the Terminator movies where they, what do you call this? Like, you know what I mean? One of these, and yet they're planning and scheming to overthrow the government and take over. No, there's nothing like that. Is there honestly, can there be something like that in this world? There's no ways. There's absolutely no ways. There's no sort of underground movement. There's nothing. There isn't. Nothing. It's not happening. It's not happening. The controllers of the powers that be, they've got it. They've, and they'll have it even further with more of digitizing things and people and whatever it is, full and utter control. And there won't be any revelations. There won't. It's only going in the direction that they want it to go, and they destined and designed it to go in. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's all. That's all. So it's on a train track. You're on the train. You can't necessarily jump off. So you got to ride it. You got to play the cards that you've been dealt. That's it. That is it. And in this life, what I feel, to a certain degree, in certain ways, you will always lose. You will always lose. In where it counts, to a degree. Now, what do I mean? Like, it will always lose. Like, how can I say that? Well, I'm alone. I'm alone. And I once was a father, and now I'm not. I have spent more money on Leanne and lost more money on Leanne than I could have spent on myself in the next 5 years. 10 years, probably. Seriously. No, let's say 7 years. I would have enough money to last me for 7 years. No problem. But that money has gone and it's been wasted. In a way. Okay? Now I mean, not that I would see my son in the evenings either, whatever it is. That's where I stand. Now listen to this cherry on the top, please. And then I'll end off and, leave you, with my misery. On Sunday, I'm at the flea market, okay? And I'm by myself, and then, the people there, they know me, and, hey, Aaron, where's your boy? And I'm like, no, his mother. And they're like, oh, yeah. Because they know the story. I tell everybody. I care nothing. I hold nothing back. You want to hear about Leanne? I'll tell you everything. I don't care a darn. These people should be shamed. Their names should be plastered, for everyone to see. But at the same time, they won't make a difference to them because they don't care. I was thinking about this the other day. If you took every unconscious narcissist, let's just talk, instead of saying narcissist, grandiose and covert, right? Like extreme levels of them, right? I'm saying extreme narcissism, levels of narcissism, because there's different degrees. And you took all of them, right, as humanity, and you put them on an island, which is large enough, and you called them that people are all narcissists, and you explain to them, this is what you do, and what we need to do is separate you from society because of how evil you are and how dangerous you are. So you guys are there. We need like a bit of a pure society and culture and whatever it is, and you guys there. You know what they would do? They play the victim. That's not fair. We just mean well. They wouldn't take accountability, and to each other they would just complain and then try and sort of, get narcissistic feed off one another and try and manipulate one another. Because that's the only thing that they know what to do. That's all that they will do, and they'll start their own narcissistic culture and whatever it is, but they won't have victims to a degree like they have victims here. Here, there's victims I'm saying they're like vampires. They're vampires. So they would start feeding on each other. They won't get the sort of narcissistic supply that they would get around these parts because, they'd all be just, only I exist, whatever, something like that. But I'm saying at the same time, there wouldn't be like remorse or guilt or shame. They would stand proud and be like, no, we were the ones that made the world turn around. We were the loving ones. We were the kind ones. You are the people that are, they would be the victims. They would be the saints and we would be the sinners. And how could you do this to us and separate us from you? And what are you talking about? And, something or other. That's what they would do. And they would gaslight whoever. That's what they would do. Say, no, but you guys, and let's say we had videos that we could show them, like, of what their behavior would be like. Yeah, but you're only seeing it from your point of view. You don't even understand it. Like, you could show them reality. You could show them, isolate them and show them reality, and they won't see what's in front of their eyes. They won't see the reality. You could show them the movie. You could show them the thing. You could, like with my brother, when he used to like beat me up and hurt me, and I was crying. And then like the one time when my mother lecturers would say, look what you've done to your brother. Be like, what? He's resting. I'm trying to make him strong, Mom. Like, I need to show him, like, you know, he needs to be made strong so he can handle life. Like, what are you talking? No. But he's broken-hearted. Ah, man, he's not broken-hearted. Like, why so serious? And I want to do a video on the Joker. Why so serious? The Joker is the most dangerous villain that has ever existed through the whole Marvel comics and universe, whatever. I don't know all the heroes. I mean, all the villains. The Joker is the worst because he's absolute chaos for no reason whatsoever. And why so serious? Because with the Joker, nothing is serious. Death isn't serious. Life isn't serious. You blow up a hospital, it's not serious. You know, I'm talking about the Dark Knight. Not serious. It's just for fun and games, for shits and giggles, because you're bored. He says, I'm like a dog chasing a car. He says, but I don't know what I would do with it if I caught one. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just doing this and I'm just doing that. I'm like a drunken person. I'm just whatever. I'm just drunk, you know. I want to talk about that scene in the hospital when he goes to Harvey Dent, you know, Two-Face now, and what he's, you know, because of the explosion and Harvey's girlfriend dies, and then Harvey's strapped to the bed. He's got half the face on, and the Joker comes in and he gives him a loaded pistol. You know, he says to the Joker, yeah, you want to get me? Like, come, shoot me. It's okay. I fear nothing. Like, you can shoot me, no problem. And Harvey says, well, I'm going to flip a coin. She says, okay, this makes things interesting. It's like, it's crazy. But that's the Joker. There's no ways that you can talk common sense to the Joker. You know? He is the most pathological, dangerous villain that there is from a psychological and spiritual, mystical point of view. He's the worst. He's the absolute worst. That's the same thing with like a serial killer who just randomly picks a woman who's walking out of a store. Whether she's got children at home, it doesn't matter. Do you understand? They see a portion. Narcissists are not even in time. They don't see the future. They don't have long-term planning. They only see right now. They can't see narrative and story and how things unfold. They can't see it. They're literally, they're like, huh? But they can't see it. Anyway, so where am I talking now? So I'm at the market and I'm walking out and I see this young guy, and I've got like a kind of a tooth. It's not a toothpick, it's a chopstick. I take chopsticks and I break them in half and I chew on them. You know, it's just like an oral thing. It's sort of calming. I like it. And as we walk past each other, I feel him being pulled to me. I'm serious. He just sort of gets pulled to me, and he says to me, hey dude, what's it in your mouth? I said, it's just a half a chopstick. He says, I thought it was one of those toothbrushes, you know, like the Muslims use to brush their teeth. It's like a vine or something, or like a root. And as I saw him, I saw that, before he was walking to me, he was walking with this woman who caught my eye. Like, she really caught my eye, you know? And they're walking together. And so and then she walks off a bit because she wasn't really paying attention. And then he's talking to me, and I'm talking to him, and I see her walking back towards us, and that's what I wanted. And anyways, I try and shift the conversation to her, but I don't know, maybe it's her boyfriend or something like that. So I say to him, like, we're talking about other things, whatever it was, and I'm looking at this woman in her eyes, and she's got the deepest eyes I have seen, and I am just besotted. I've connected with this woman. I can feel there is sparks. I can feel that there is fire. I can feel these things. And I even said to her, you have such deep eyes, it's like hard for me to look at your eyes, you know, type of thing. And I said to them, sometimes I said, how did you meet? You know, the two you meet? She says, no, man, we're brother and sister. So I'm like, oh, wow, great. Okay, so they're not in a relationship. Great. You know? So we get to, and I'm saying for myself, she fits the bill in every single way. Like, I like a little bit of a dark, not a white-skinned woman, but, I mean, you know, that's a bit superficial, but it doesn't matter. That's my style. There was every single thing about this woman that just ticked every single one of my boxes. And I said to them, oh, where do you live? They said, Morningside. I said, oh, shit, that's a bit far. No, she says, but we're around. Anyway, we started talking, and it was just like chemistry. It was just, I'm telling you, it was just unbelievable. And the words came out of my mouth. I said, I know I'm being forward, but I don't want to miss out on the opportunity. Can I get your number? So she says, sure. So she, I take a number down and whatever it is. Then I'm talking to them. Listen to this now. So this is perfect. I'm saying it's just like remarkable how this is working. But listen to this now. Listen to the absolute kick in the groin. Listen to this now. Do you know how old she is? She's turning 20 in June. I'm going to be 45. Her brother was actually only 17 years old. He told me he was 25 and he looks older than he was. So you know what? I've got this girl's number and we've been talking. We've been getting along so well. But you know what? Her mother and her brother, there's no ways that they're going to let her, which I understand, spend time with a guy who's 45 years old. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Do you understand what I'm saying? So now I'm on my own. And I speak to her and I send her my Terence McKenna channel, like my Aaron G channel, and she loves it. She's like, wow, and we're having conversation. It's incredible. Sure, she's 19 years old, but you know what? There's 19 years old that are more mature or more like spiritually evolved and higher soul than a 45-year-old or a 75-year-old. Her understanding and her depth in the way that we connected, and sure, so there's other things as well. But you know what, folks? I can't see her because her mother won't allow it. She says if she lived on her own and she had her own car, then it would be a different story, but she relies on her mother. She finished school last year. I think she finished school last year. Well, she's 19. Maybe she finished a year ago. I'm not sure. I don't know. But still. So talk about like salt in the wounds. Talk about like, really like there's a wound there. They're like twisting the knife in and salt and putting in like paraffin and just like really and putting maggots in there and just like, peeing all over it or whatever. Like that's what it's like for me. And I feel helpless and I feel angry and I feel hopeless and I feel depressed and I feel despaired. So work this one out, folks. Work this one out. That's my reality. That's where I am holding. Yeah. So how is it with my situation? Like with my son, that I don't see him anymore. This woman walks away with most of my money. She has a house in her name. I'm not going to lie. She manipulated me and somebody else to buy a house in her name. It's not a big house. It's a rundown house. But she comes off flying. Look, she loses me and everything else. It's fine. But I always lose. I always lose. When I moved to the country and I bought shares on a farm and I moved onto the farm and I fixed the whole farm up and I got, the village people involved, whatever it is, I lost and I walked away with nothing. I will always walk away with nothing. The only thing I walk away with is me. But what I'm saying now is I'm on my own. The only person in my life that I talk to is my mother. I haven't had more of a conversation with a face-to-face for 5 minutes with another human being in probably the last week. Yeah. I'm on dating apps. Listen to this one, right? There's a woman who liked me. The area that she is located on her profile says she's like my next door neighbor. I think, wow, this is amazing. Look, she maybe looked like nice company. Do you know what I mean? Just nice company. That's great. That's cool. That's lovely. No problem. Anyways, I start chatting to her. I say, oh, I see that you're in the same area. She says, well, I was 2 weeks ago, but I moved. I'm in now Pietermaritzburg. That's like an hour and a half drive away. So I'm like, oh wow, okay. I thought maybe we can make plans this weekend. But let's make it even worse, people. Let's take it back even. Let's put more even salt in it. Let's get carried away here. Let's raise the roof, as they say. So about like a month or a half ago, whatever it was. Now I'm going to be honest. I don't care. Out of my own loneliness, whatever it is, and being a man, I can't self-pleasure. I can't do that. It's not me, and I can't watch naughty pictures or naughty videos. I can't do that, right? So I go for a massage with a happy ending. Okay? Anyway, I met this woman, whatever it was, and we connected. It was really wonderful. It was rushed and everything else. It cost a fortune, but it was very nice, and we became friends. Anyways, her mother legitimately, she's a good woman. You know, she's 30 years old. Her mother was in hospital. She asked me to help her with cash. So I said, yes, I understand, and I know she'll pay me back. She's a good person. But I said to her, but you know, like, we're friends. And so I said, look, I explained to her, I'm lonely, whatever it is, if we can come over, you know, have a glass of wine. She, you know, I think she's a bit of a wine, you know, she likes wine. Come on over, we'll have some wine. You know, not that I drink wine, but whatever it is. I'll just have some company. Well, that's all I want. That's all I want. It's just some company. For a month and a half now. So for the first week, she says to me, oh, she fell sick. No, she felt sick. Then the next week she told me she was in Johannesburg, which I knew she was lying. And I said, send me your PIN location and whatever. Like, you know, because she's inconsistent. She's a good person. I know she'll pay me back. But that doesn't mean she's consistent in her personality, in the things, whatever it was. And every time we're supposed to meet something, she backed out. We're supposed to meet today, and she says, can we meet tomorrow or Sunday? All I want is just an hour and two, even though I helped this woman out with a lot of money, and I know she'll pay me back. And again, people say, well, why did you help her out? Because I wanted to make an impact on her. I don't care what profession she does. I don't care. I'm just looking for company. We had good conversations. I spoke about Leanne and what's going on in my life. Do you know what it's like when you have no one to talk to whatsoever? Then you find somebody, you want to make a positive impact. You want to make a good impact on them. That's what you want to do. A memorable impact. I mean, you know, you're competing with how many thousands of WhatsApp messages and everything else, Facebook people, and you know, you want to exist in somebody's life. So that's what I did it for, and I know she will pay me back. But she's supposed to meet today. Oh, what about tomorrow? Do you think tomorrow she's going to come? No, she's not going to come. But she tells me, we talk about like she's also got a salon, you know, where she does nails and hair and makeup. And I say, I've got so many ideas for you. I've got items for you to sell. And we speak, and she goes, oh, I love that. I can't wait for us to meet. Like, she's being genuine. Often she'll be like, oh yeah, we're going to meet. We'll discuss that. And then I've got this, and I'd like to talk to you about this. Like, and then comes Friday morning, I message her, good morning, and she says, sends me a voice and hi, no, don't worry, I'm still going to pay you either later on today or tomorrow morning. I'm like, what about our arrangements? Not a word. So I said, hey, you know. So she says, oh, sorry, maybe it's Saturday. I'm saying this is after a month and a half of every excuse. This is what I'm dealing with. Cannot get one person to spend some time with. So that's even more salt in the wounds. So that's just what it is. You say, well, Aaron, the universe is obviously giving you a message. You know what it is, but I don't like it. I hate it. I really, sincerely hate it. You're not in my shoes. You don't know the level of loneliness. Maybe you have your own loneliness going on, and that's fine. But I absolutely hate it. I'm so sick of it, because it's not just been going on for a week or a month. It's been going on for years, for decades. And I'm so hands down sick and tired of it. I'm so sick and tired of meeting these potential people, these potential women that I have such a fiery connection with, and then something goes wrong. Why do I meet them in the first place? Rather than let me meet them. I'd be happier without them. For some of you, you know the story of Rihanna. Rihanna, when I was on the farm, was one of the worst situations of my life. Same thing, same situation. You might say, well, look, you don't really know these women, and you know what, at least I would have found out. And I think I'm well aware now how to put up boundaries and not to just, you know, whatever, you know, get myself into real big trouble. I think I know now. But I don't even get the chance. I don't even get the opportunity. And there's a feeling like almost of narcissism, or just that laughing from like how my brother would laugh at me, you know, like beat me up and then laugh at me, you know, type of thing, or beat me up and then like I'd go to my bed and then it'll be like, you know, the dog poo in my bed. Be like, like on top of everything. So I do feel that way, and there's nothing I can do, and I feel helpless. I feel helpless. So tonight I'm going to have something to eat. Maybe I'll upload the other video on YouTube. And then I'm going to go to the bar where there's just drunken people. I'm going to stand around for like 5 minutes just so I can get out of the house and just get a distraction. And there'll be drunken people like, hey, you know, whatever it is. And there'll be women there, but they won't be suitable for me. You know? I mean, not that they'd even show interest in me, because they can see I'm too level-headed. You know, I'm too conscious. Be like, you can see me, man. I don't like that. Or like, you don't play a game. Like, I don't know how to relate to you. You know? I'm like, yeah, me and my girls, we're having cocktails, then we're having some like shots. You know what I'm saying? Where am I going to fit in there? But that's what I do, because otherwise I'm on my own and I'm losing my mind. So cheers to the universe, you know, cheers to life in the situation. People say, oh, you're being ungrateful, and maybe I am, but that's my experience and that's my life. And that's what I have to share for now. So yeah, let's see how long I've been chatting for. Just over 1 hour. Yeah. I don't know. Anyways, thanks for listening. Thanks for listening, and hope it's been worth your while and that you've taken something from it, or if it's just kept you company as well. That also matters. Alright. Take care.